Have you ever hated your own child? When my son was born, I thought I knew what love meant. The nurses placed him in my arms and I cried harder than I ever had. He was perfect, tiny, red-faced, angry at the world already, and mine. I promised to protect him, love him, give him everything, and I meant it. The first couple of years were tough but manageable. Sleepless nights, endless diapers, tantrums, par for the course. I was exhausted but happy. Then he turned 5, and something began to change. He didn't listen. He lashed out. He screamed and hit and spat when he didn't get his way. I chalked it up to growing pains, said he'd grow out of it, but he didn't. It got worse. By the time he was 8, he'd punched a hole in the wall and called me names I didn't even know he knew. I was a single mother. His father left when he was 2 and never looked back. I worked long hours just to keep the lights on, barely keeping up with bills. I came home to a son who greeted me with slammed doors and broken things. I tried therapy, behavior programs, rewards, consequences. Nothing worked. He manipulated his teachers, turned other kids against each other, and once stole from my purse. One night, I came home after working a double. My feet were blistered, my back ached, and my head was pounding. I opened the door and saw the living room destroyed. Lamps broken, cushions torn apart, milk spilled everywhere. He stood in the middle of the mess, glaring at me like I was the enemy. Something in me snapped. I didn't scream. I didn't hit him. I just turned around, went into the bathroom, locked the door, and slid to the floor. I cried until I couldn't breathe. And somewhere in that spiral, I whispered to myself, I hate him. I said it again and again and again. Not because I truly hated him. I knew I didn't, but because I hated the person I had become. I hated the helplessness, the resentment, the constant failure, and he was the only one there to absorb it. That was my lowest point. I felt like the worst mother alive. It took everything in me to unlock that door, walk back into the living room, and clean up the mess while he sulked on the couch. He didn't apologize. He never did. It took years before things improved. Medication helped, as did a school for kids with behavioral issues. He's older now, a teenager. We still fight. He still tests every boundary. But there are moments when he hugs me, when he laughs, and it's real, not mocking. Those moments remind me that the little boy I held in the hospital is still somewhere in there. I've forgiven myself for that night. I've had to. Parenting isn't clean or beautiful most of the time. Sometimes it's ugly and raw and full of doubt. But I never gave up on him, even when I wanted to, even when I told myself I hated him. And I think, deep down, that has to count for something.